A few days ago, I was doing a little bit of groundwork, shifting some undergrowth out of the way, and I came across a mouse nest. Have a look at this little clip. All cute and stuff, yeah? Right, now, no mice were harmed in the making of this video. Make that very clear. We'll come to that in a minute. Watch that again, but this time don't concentrate so much on the cute little baby mice. Listen to the parent mouse shouting his head off at me, utterly fearlessly. Now, in most of the country, mice don't do that. Bit of backstory. When we've been here about 6 months or so, we got a digger in. I was doing the first round of earthworks in, and while it was here, we were doing a certain amount of ground clearance. The house was kind of a junkyard. There was 3 skip loads of junk metal alone in the back of the house. It was loads of junk. The last load of that had gone, and the few last bits that we were actually going to keep and repurpose, we just moved them aside. And we were standing directly outside the back of the house where there'd previously been an old trampoline flipped upside down, and working out where exactly I was going to bring the digger through just to level it all and make it all flat so I could see exactly what we're dealing with. And I became aware of a mouse telling me off, circling us. I mean, like just 2 feet away from me, circling us, squeaking its head off. Now, yeah, we'd only been here a little while at this point, so we knew mice don't do that. So, hang on, no one move, what's going on? Had a look down, there was a tuft of grass, very much like you just saw in that video. Prized it open, and this little baby mouse, bigger than that, they had fur, but they were still, still had their eyes closed. So it's like, well, this is difficult, what do we do now? Meanwhile, the mother mouse has disappeared by this point, can't hear her, but I need to bring the digger through, this is, being paid by the hour. There was, no real capacity to just leave it. Now, if mice come in the greenhouse during winter, we've got traps out, no point being silly about it, but this is outside, right? It's a permaculture site. We're not trying to eradicate all the wildlife, we're trying to create a system that functions very much like an ecosystem by being one. So there's no point just wiping out a load of mice outside in your gardens or out in the pastures or whatever, or in the tree systems, because all that's going to happen is, for every 5 that you get rid of, another 5 are just going to move in. There's no point, and you've got to go around killing stuff all the time. It's meaningless, there's no need. I'd rather go through my life without killing too much stuff. So, yeah, not a lot of choice though. What am I going to do? So I made, next to the house, which is about 5 or 6 feet away, I made a little enclosure of stone and old brick, and then I got my biggest spade, I came down, I dug all around this mouse nest, lifted the whole thing, clod of earth and all, with the mouse nest still completely intact in the centre of it, moved it over, put it in amongst all these rocks, rearranged them a little bit, put it around the front so there was a small hole about that big, just big enough for a mouse to come through, put a slab over the top and came away. And I figured it's only 6 feet away, rather than just accepting, the mouse ain't going to come back. At least they got a chance, and, we'll give it a try. About 5 or 6 hours later, it's late by now, the sun's starting to go down. I think it was the first time I'd been running a digger, so I was tired, it took a lot of concentration then. So I was coming in, and there was a banging. Just, a mouse ran by the window, a mouse ran by the window. So I put my gloves back on again, trudged around the back of the house, and I'm covered in mud, I'm tired, my boots are more mud than welly, they're just, my feet are heavy, I'm exhausted. So I went around, and by now, because we cleared the whole lot, there's one bush left that is, something that we're planning on keeping, and there was some stone behind it that we wanted to keep as well. So I looked down and I thought, well, if I was a mouse, I'd be there, and this is about 20-30 feet from where this nest had been. So I pulled the bushes back, and there's this little mouse, standing there, looking back at me. So I thought, well, I'm only going to have one shot at this. So I got, big heavy work gloves on. So I think I'm not going to get bit at least. Made a grab for it, right? Now, big heavy, I haven't got small hands anyway. These are big heavy winter work gloves. Missed it, ran off. Well, that's game over then, isn't it? Wonder where that's gone. Pulled it back again, mouse comes back, sits down. Then walks forward about a foot, sits down again in front of me. And this is about, 18 inches away from me at this point. A living mouse looking back at me. Well, this is weird. I'm thinking, what's going on? It's, really weird. Reach down, pick the mouse up, lets me pick it up. I take it over to where I've placed the nest, Offer it up to the hole that I've made in the front. Mouse goes in, superb. Great, I come in, great, job done. Go out the next morning, open it all up, and yeah, she's moved all of her babies to one of her backup nests, because they do that. Now, I was aware that most mice don't behave this way unless you're in some sort of kids film, you know, and they're about to break into song or whatever. So I thought, we're going to have to do some searching here. So I went on, went online, actually my wife went online, and did a bit of searching around, and it turns out that in most of the country the mice are of Germanic descent, and they're pretty much the same everywhere. But this far north, right at the northernmost tip of Scotland, they're distinctly different genetically. And this is only like in the last couple of decades this has been discovered as they started studying the genomes of various species, mice included. The mice that we have here aren't elsewhere in Britain. They're found in Scandinavia, they're found in Orkney, they're found in Iceland, and they're found in Greenland. They're Viking mice. So, yeah, Vikings, alive and well, still walk Britain. They're double-hard and absolutely fearless. They're just very, very tiny. One more thing. The mice, the baby mice that you just saw in that clip, they were slap bang exactly where I had to dig. But it was later on in the evening, I didn't have to move them, so I just left it well alone. Obviously the mother was quite aware that I was there and they needed to be moved. And by the time I came back the next morning, she'd gone. I think it was 3 or 4 days later, I had to do a bit more, and literally right next to where I had the cement mixer running, there was another large big tuft of grass. So I checked it, because there was a mouse making an awful lot of racket, and yeah, sure enough, I don't know if it's the same mouse, in which case she'd have been shouting at me again, but anyway, it wasn't directly where I was, so it was okay. So I left them well alone and just carried on working next to them. And with me there, mixing cement, pouring concrete, within 3 hours the mother had come in and had moved the entire nest again away. I don't know where this time, but right under my nose. Absolutely fearless. So you can't see Viking mice in most of the country. You'll have to come and stay with us.